Physicists like simulating the physical world through software. A simulation allows you to explore several versions of reality in order to discover patterns or test hypotheses. However, if you want one that's realistic down to individual atoms and electrons, you'll shortly run out of processing power. This is where new advanced artificial intelligence models come into play. Machine learning algorithms may mimic complex simulations, but they frequently need a large amount of pricey training data. A novel approach demonstrates that physicists may contribute their expertise to machine learning algorithms by training them on a few modest simulations with a few atoms and then predicting the behavior of a system with hundreds of atoms. Welcome to today's episode of AI News. In this episode, I will show you the new AI which promises to do complicated physics simulations of things like water and air behaviors in real time, how they manage to actually accomplish it, and finally, what it means for the simulation industry. Similar approaches may be used in the future to analyze microchips with billions of atoms, anticipating faults before they occur. The researchers began with simulated units of 16 silicon and germanium atoms, two elements often utilized in the fabrication of microchips. They used high-performance computers to compute the quantum mechanical interactions between the electrons of atoms. The simulation created unit-level features such as its energy bands, or the energy levels available to its electrons, given a specific arrangement of atoms. However, you realize that there is a large difference between the toy models that we can investigate using a first principles approach in reality structures, says Sanghamitra Neoji, senior author of the work and a physicist at the University of Colorado, Boulder. Could she and her co-author, Artem Pimachov, use machine learning to overcome the gap? The plan was to train machine learning models to predict energy bands from 16 atom arrangements, then give the algorithms larger arrangements to see whether they could forecast their energy bands as well. In essence, they are attempting to probe this universe of billions of atoms. That physics is a complete mystery. According to Neoji, a typical model may require 10,000 training instances. She and Pimachov, on the other hand, believed they could do better. As a result, they used physics concepts to create the appropriate training data. To begin, they understood that strain alters energy bands, so they simulated 16 atom units with varying degrees of strain rather than spending time doing a large number of simulations with the same strain. Second, they spent a year developing a method to define the atomic configurations that would be relevant for the model, a method to fingerprint the units. They opted to portray a unit as a collection of three-dimensional objects with flat walls, one for each atom. The walls of a form were determined by locations that were equidistant from the atom and its neighbors. When the forms are combined, they form what is known as a Voronoi tessellation. If you're clever enough to develop a solid collection of fingerprints, Neoji adds, you don't need a lot of data. Their training sets were limited to 357 examples. Neoji and Pimachov developed two sorts of models, a neural network and a random forest, or set of decision trees, and tested them on three distinct types of structures, comparing their results to precise simulations. The earliest structures were perfect superlattices, which could have many atomic layers of pure silicon, then several layers of pure germanium, and so on. They put these to the test in both tense and relaxed settings. The second structures were non-ideal heterostructures, in which the thickness of a particular layer might fluctuate or include faults. The third type of heterostructure was made heterostructures, which included portions of pure silicon and parts of silicon-germanium alloys. There might be up to 544 atoms in a test instance. The key secrets of structural biology are collapsing like dominoes as a result of deep learning. DeepMind stunned the biomedical community last year with AlphaFold, an algorithm that predicts protein shapes with astounding precision. Rose TTA-Fold, an AI that challenged AlphaFold in prediction capacity, was shortly released by the University of Washington. DeepMind provided a nearly full list of all protein structures in the human body a few weeks later. The scientists addressed a 50-year-old great issue in biology, and because proteins are at the core of most drugs, they may have also sparked a new age of drug creation. For the first time, we have extraordinary visibility into our cells' protein engines, many of which had hitherto remained impenetrable to typical lab procedures. However, one crucial component was lacking. Proteins do not function in isolation. They frequently form complexes, which are tiny groups that interact to carry out vital jobs in our cells and bodies. The UW squad stepped up their game this month. Using AlphaFold and ROSE-TTA-Fold, they modified the algorithms to predict which proteins are likely to collaborate and then drew the resultant complexes into 3D models. Using AI, the researchers predicted hundreds of complexes, many of which are wholly novel, that regulate DNA repair, oversee the digestive system of the cell, and conduct other vital biological activities. These behind-the-scenes discoveries might influence the next generation of DNA editors and lead to novel treatments for neurological illnesses or anti-aging medicines. The findings can serve as a compass for experimental scientists as they test the predictions and seek fresh insights into how our cells grow, age, die, malfunction, and reproduce. Several forecasts emphasized how our cells absorb foreign chemicals, which is a significant piece of information that might enable us persuade ordinarily resistant cells to swallow drugs. The research is only the beginning. As with any novel strategy, it is critical to bear the approach's limits in mind when evaluating the results. For example, AI does not perform as well for protein complexes that only interact briefly or have exceedingly complex structures. So far, the results have only been evaluated in yeast protein complexes, and they may overlook those that are exclusive to another species. In addition, the AI isn't extremely confident in its predictions. Tests reveal confidence levels of around 70% for each complex. That, though, is the excitement. Deep learning is allowing us to break the protein complexes that underpin biology on a huge scale. It's a wonderful moment to be alive. So, what is your personal opinion on this rather unique and fast, but also rather dangerous and uncertain approach of simulating advanced physics?
40 years ago, we had Pong, like two rectangles and a dot. That was what games were. Now, 40 years later, we have photorealistic 3D simulations with millions of people playing simultaneously, and it's getting better every year. And soon we'll have virtual reality, we'll have augmented reality. If you assume any rate of improvement at all, then the games will become indistinguishable from reality. They'll be indistinguishable. Even if that rate of advancement drops by 1,000 from what it is right now, then you just say, okay, well, let's imagine it's 10,000 years in the future, which is nothing in the evolutionary scale. So given that we're clearly on a trajectory to have games that are indistinguishable from reality, and those games could be played on any set-top box or on a PC or whatever.
Do you think that the enormous speed difference alone would be enough to become the dominant simulation method, or is the safe and proven method of simulating physics going to come out on top? Please tell us your opinion in the comment section below. I would love to hear what you have to say about it. Thank you for watching AI News. We consistently report on the newest technologies that are shaping the future of our world. We'd appreciate you subscribing and watching our other videos. See you around and take care.